Welcome to Mansfield Matters, your home for all things Stags.
Craig's at the mic, his passion's bright, with metaphors you can't ignore, and anagrams that make us groan till everyone starts to moan.
Who is Randy Once?
We're the Mansfield Matters crew, making podcasts just for you. Some show up, some disappear, but the Stags bring us all here. Through the ups and downs we stay, talking Mansfield town every day. Where's Nathan gone? He's never on. The blind Stag's late, not gonna wait. Cam's watching Hollyoaks again. He's useless anyway. Let's just begin. We're the Mansfield Matters crew, making podcasts just for you. Some show up, some disappear, but the Stags bring us all here. Through the ups and downs we stay, talking Mansfield town every day. And now, introducing the world's greatest announcer. Alan brings the joy and light, while Clive keeps sense in sight. Nick's got shirts for every day. Jim's our super sub. Hey, hey! The chat rolls on. Your prediction. We give match reports and witty retorts, while Craig reads questions from his list that leave us all feeling pretty miffed. Time's almost up. Done! We're the Mansfield Matters crew, making podcasts just for you. Some show up, some disappear, but the Stags bring us all here. Through the ups and downs we stay, talking Mansfield town every day. That's all for this week. Probably-ish.
You know, ever since Nathan introduced AI to this podcast earlier this series, I've doubted whether or not it's useful. And I've come to the conclusion today that it is absolutely not. Because if you type in examples of a substitution masterstroke into Google, it talks about Liverpool. What it should be doing is talking about Nigel Clough and Dom Dwyer. It took the substitute less than 30 seconds from entering the pitch to seeing the ball hit the back of the net as the Stags sealed 3 points against Rotherham United on an afternoon where you had a little sneaky suspicion that Nigel Clough's rant about the referees in the week may come back to bite him. It was also a fantastic way to celebrate 15 years of the Radford's tenure as owners of Mansfield Town Football Club. And tonight on the Mansfield Matters podcast, we'll reflect on those 15 years, talk about referees and what Nigel Clough had to say, and laud the fact that despite ever-mounting injuries, Mansfield Town still somehow have the capacity to do something bloody brilliant. All of that to come here on the show for the fans, by the fans. This is your award-nominated Mansfield Matters podcast. Did it again, muted my mic at the start. I'm never going to learn. This is exactly why we will never win that Football Content Award for Best Football League Podcast. You can vote for that by scanning the QR code over there somewhere. Go and scan that. If you want to scan that at any point today, it'll take you directly to the Football Content Award website where you can vote for Mansfield Matters for Best Football League Podcast, the only podcast in all the land that will have a game where you can guess what's in a bucket, where podcasters will get called by their wrong name, where footballers will get called by their wrong name, and where all of the panel appear on screen. Let's say hello and good evening to them. First and foremost, throwing over to the man who has collected more shirts than Primark Warehouse. It's Nick of Mansfield Town Shirts fame.
Hello, Craig. Hello, everyone.
Let's throw over to the man who, if we make him laugh, he's definitely going to have a coughing fit. So we're going to have to be quick on that mute button. It's Alan Wilson.
Good evening, Craig. Good evening, everybody.
And the man who, for the last year or so on the podcast, when he's appeared, you haven't really seen his face because tech just didn't work. However, he saw that we were nominated for an award and he thought, do you know what? I'm going to have to do something about this. And oh my God, has he managed to do that? Evening and hello to Jim. Hello.
Evening, Craig. Evening, everybody. You're all right.
Lovely to see you. Well done for embracing the world of tech. Great to, I know. You must be. I know you're going to have to go for a lie down at some point after this, aren't you? So, but well done and welcome. It's nice to actually see your face on screen for once. So there you go. However, just for Alan's purpose, right? Because I know he's going to miss it. At some point in this podcast, you could answer the question after the one that I've asked. You know, like the old the two Ronnie sketch. If you could do that, just for Alan's amusement, that would be great. So if I said to you, hello, what's your name? And you don't say anything. And then I say, what's your favourite football club? Your answer's Jim.
Okay, doke.
Sure,
Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas.
Yeah, that sort of thing, really. Just for Alan's amusement. Right, shall we get into the podcast, shall we? I can see Nick giggling away already. A 2-1 win over Rotherham on Saturday, Nick. I bumped into you and Clive before the game and we were sort of quietly optimistic, but I don't think either of us foresaw a 90th minute winner coming our way, did we?
No, I was quite confident before the game. I don't know why. I didn't think Rotherham, from the couple of times we've played them, looked that great. And I know they started the season pretty poorly. So I was pretty confident that we'd get something out of it. But at half time, if you'd have asked me how confident I was, it was pretty much zero. I know we created chances, but it seems to be one of them games where the ball just wasn't going to go in. And we had, one of our favourite referees as well, which didn't help. And I just didn't think that it was going to go in. And then we didn't play poorly. I mean, I thought they were a really poor side, Rotherham. Other than I don't see Roberts did a great deal in our goal. I didn't see us getting the 3 points after from half time onwards until Roberts equalised, and then it seemed to flick a switch and we went for it. And then you couldn't ask for a better 90th minute impact from a sub. I mean, we've been asking, particularly on here, for Dwyer for a few games to come on, and he showed exactly what he did last season at Huddersfield away and in other games, that he just comes on and makes a difference and scores.
I did feel a little bit sorry for one man on Saturday in all of that, and that was Alan Wilson, because there he was, spieling away with all his substitutes, getting all the sponsors and everything out of the way, and then we go and score a goal. All I've got visions of is Alan reading out all the sponsors, trying to quickly get through them, and then just lying on his back in the PA box, giving it the Dom Dwyer!
Yeah, well, quality strike, weren't it? And that it must have been his first touch, weren't it? Because when he came on, like Macca said in his interview, he was going to take the free kick. He got pulled off, so he had to go off the Great. He had to go off the pitch. Dom came on. I think that was his first effort. I'm sure it was. They didn't touch it before that. He counted up. So it was a cracking finish, and one that was thoroughly deserved, especially like Nick said, after the 62nd minute after the equaliser. So I said to you, and I said, if we equalise, we're going to win this. You could feel it that we're going to win it.
Yeah, literally his first touch of the ball. Was the free kicks. The free kick was straight away. So what an impact! And to be fair, Jim, we've needed someone to sort of do that. But as much as you can sort of praise Dwyer for getting his bonce on the head of the ball, it was a superb ball in from Aaron Lewis too.
It was. I mean, some of what Lewis did was erratic, but to be fair, all afternoon I thought we created 5 or 6 good chances, and we should have had more goals really. And Dwyer is probably the best finisher we've got. And I personally would like to see a way we could get him in the team. And I think now Dave is back. Now Dave is back.
Nearly.
I think now Dave's back, we can play higher. I mean, I think we can get Dwyer in the team, because I'd fancy playing Tyler Roberts as a focal 9 as a false nine. Then you can get Dwyer in front of him around the box, and I think we can get him in the side. But that's what I'd like to see. I think that we'd miss so many chances on Saturday, and I think that could cost us if we're not careful.
It's interesting what you say there about Tyler Roberts, Jim, because I think one thing about what we've got at the minute is that front four is very versatile. It's very interchangeable, but I really, like you, I don't like him as the out and out front man. I think he's a lot better deeper when he comes and collects the ball, and him and Oates seem to form a decent little bit of understanding as well, which will only get better in time.
Yeah, and I like this idea of inverting Oates and Evans. I'd leave them swapped over like they are. I'd put Evans on the right and Oates on the left, and then they naturally want to come inside. Then your fullbacks have got more space to go outside anyway. And if you're playing a high line, you really make the most of the width of the pitch, and I think we look dangerous as a team then. And then I think you can get Dwyer in. If we're higher up as a unit, Dwyer and Roberts won't be isolated. And personally, I think that's the way forward. But the only problem is, our luck being our luck, injuries will throw a spanner in all that. But while we've got people fit, let's do what we can with that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick, it was an interesting one because we were sort of talking on last week's podcast about Rhys Oates and sort of saying, Nigel Clough asked him before the Port Vale game, can you give me 45 minutes? Oates said no. Clough said, can you give me 30 minutes? Oates said, I'll give it a go, but I doubt it. I don't think any of us expected him to start, but he was as pivotal in that game. His quick decision-making for, the equalising goal, but also some of his runs down that left and right-hand side, whichever side he found himself on, really had Rotherham sort of on the back foot. And it just goes to show how much of an impact he does have, when he does play.
I think it's his pace, isn't it? It's the one thing that defenders don't like, especially in the lower leagues. We've saw it with players we've had previously. It's pace, isn't it? That's what he's got, his pace and his drive and runs, and he runs at players, and sometimes I don't think they know which side he's going to do because he's both footed, so he cuts inside, he cuts outside. I thought it was one of his best games, certainly on Saturday. I thought he made a real big difference, and it's just his injuries, isn't it? That's the one thing. It's it happens so often. He just gets injured. He has 3 or 4 good games, then he disappears. So let's hope, fingers crossed, touch wood, whatever, that he stays fit, because he was pivotal on Saturday. And like Jim said, he can play across that 4. Cutting inside, I think, is where he's most dangerous. But yeah, he was brilliant on Saturday. One of his best games, I think, for a while.
Yeah, really was. He put in a very, very good performance. As always, come and have your say on your team. Get involved in the live feed comments if you wish to do so. A fair few already coming in tonight, mainly just taking the mickey out of me because I forgot to press the unmute button again. Look, the old software did it automatically for me. This one doesn't, right? So I'm blaming StreamYard and not my total lack of attention pay. How the hell are we ever going to win that award? You've got to vote for it. You know what to do. And we will keep subtly plugging it throughout the rest of the show. Right. Get your comments coming in and have your say. As I say, Stagsman says, well, he made it on time. You're absolutely welcome to work a little bit later today. So we started 15 minutes late. Gave you a lot of shout out in a recent video and brought attention to your nominations and how to vote. Thank you very much. Matt says 100% Craig on the rant on refs, but at least if he goes against us, it'll get noticed. Sod Rotherham, they're a pub team, not us. Says someone who lives in Rotherham. I think you probably should be saying that, Cam, to be fair. No referee slander, please. We need to win this award or Nathan will cry. I think slagging off the referees will win us the award. Never doubt Nigel Clough, always all part of the master plan. Lucky Macca, says Simon, would take a 50% Dave over Sweeney any day. Just hoping bringing Dave back without being fully match fit doesn't bite us in the bum and put him out for longer, says Marie. Alan, it's a fair point. Nobody was expecting us to see Dave on the team sheet on Saturday afternoon. It was a great surprise. And to be fair, like he always does, cool, calm, collected. That man could genuinely be in an inferno on the very top floor, go back to bed for 20 minutes and still walk out unscathed. He is ice cool. He's a man of calmness. And what a performance he put in. And to be honest, I think Nigel Clough will be very, very tempted to go with him again, even if it means the lads having to carry him back to his car.
I'm going to say because I think I counted in the game, there are probably 2, possibly 3 misplaced passes. Every other time, you could tell the difference, Craig. I thought Fraser Blake Tracy had a decent game at side of him as well. Although, there are a lot of good players on the park, especially Aaron Lewis. He deserved the man of the match, I thought. But as for Dave, you could see the quality of him. He just oozed it, didn't he? As soon as he was back, it's as if he wasn't. He's never been away, and it's something that you can tell that we really miss. So it'd be interesting on Saturday when Nigel's got a quandary, because obviously Sweeney will be ready and raring to go again after his 1-match ban. Now whether he'll get straight back in, who knows? I would have thought he would. Just to whether it alleviates Dave and, leave him for 2 more weeks now after we've got the international break. But we'll have to see.
Little shake of the head from you there, Jim. You thinking Sweeney won't get back in?
I mean, nothing personal, nothing, But to me, the way we play and how better we looked on Saturday with Dave on that halfway line, now, to me, Sweeney, there's half a dozen players I've picked before Sweeney. I've got to be honest. Nothing against the lad, but I think he's a square peg in a round hole with what we try and do. Look how the difference Dave made to have the whole side. And to me, Sweeney's been, in my opinion, disappointing since he's come back anyway. I know that's my opinion. Other people think different. Fair enough. Footballer's opinion, but he's not for me. Fraser Blake, look, I agree with Alan. He looks steady next to Dave, and I would go with someone like that. Sweeney don't want to sit on that halfway line. It's not his game.
No, I suppose it's everyone's got the sort of viewpoints on Sweeney. I think I still think he's not yet actually played in his correct position yet, Nick, to be fair, other than maybe at Port Vale, and he got caught out there by sort of having to go a little bit higher and his pace maybe did him out a little bit. I don't know. I think we could potentially see a Dave and a Sweeney partnership with maybe Blake Tracy moving back across to left back and give him a Macca an option from the bench. I don't know where I sit with it. Where do you sit with it?
I don't know, because the fact that Clough has intimated that Dave might not be ready, that means he's playing usually.
Yeah.
But for me, I think I would give him the rest. As much as I think Sweeney is a bit of a liability at the minute, I do worry about the 2 left-footed centre halves again, which would be a problem if it was FBT and Sweeney. But I will say, I mean, Fraser Blake Tracy for me has never done enough in a Stag shirt yet until he's moved to this centre back in a back 4. He's been brilliant. He was fantastic on Saturday. I thought he really was. He won everything in the air against their man up front, Hugill, who is a bit of a nightmare. He's a big lad, isn't he? And he's quite mobile. I thought Fraser Blake Tracy did brilliantly. So I think I'd play Sweeney on Saturday more out of necessity rather than choice, because I don't think if anyone's fit, like Jim says, I could probably find another 10 players to pull in front of him. But for me, he was brought in for a back 5. And I think we can all see that. Sweeney was brought in because Clough wanted to play a back 5 and he wanted somebody reasonably steady at centre half, a bit more physical, so he could play Dave on the right-hand side of him and Cargill on the left-hand side of him. That is all Sweeney was brought in for, without a shadow of a doubt. You can't suggest Sweeney was brought in for a back 4 because that's not what Clough wanted to play. He's now realised, crap, we've had to go back to a back 4. And at the minute, Sweeney potentially hasn't, like you say, maybe not necessarily played the left side where he should be. But yeah, it's difficult to see when people are fit how he gets in the team. But for me, I would play him Saturday just to avoid Dave getting injured.
Yeah, we have to protect Dave at all costs, to be fair. Yeah. And maybe we might have Sir Bowery back on Saturday as well. You know, he doesn't tend to stay injured for too long. And he was a bit of a miss as well. And I feel like if he was even 40% fit or even 10% fit, he would have played on Saturday. So bit of an interesting one. I don't know. I agree with you, Nick, on the whole Sweeney thing. I think he was definitely brought in to play in a back 5. He was brought in to play in the centre of the 3 and to basically do the head-it, kick-it role, which Flint and or Kilgore would have potentially done, but with a little bit more I don't know, comfort on the ball. Maybe he can play with ball at feet if he needs to, and you know, he's a little bit younger as well. And now we've had to go back to a back 4. But that's what baffles me. If he was brought in to play in a centre back 3, he's not really good there anyway. He was better for us the first time round when we were in a back 4 when he was playing the left hand side. But I agree. I think we've got too many we've got too many stronger options on that left-hand side. We are overbalanced with left-footed centre-halves. Bailey Cargill, will always be your first choice in there as well. Fraser Blake-Tracy, I think, is, like we've all said, has done a superb job sitting in there. Not to forget, like people have said in the comments, when he was at Swindon and his former clubs, he was an out-and-out centre-half and not a left-back, so can play there. It is an interesting quandary of where we go, but I think it's a big opportunity for Sweeney on Saturday to go to Reading if he gets back in the side to play. I just hope that if he does, he's not the right side centre back, because again, that is square peg round hole material. But yeah, Matt in the comments, Jim has said Dave and Cargill are the best centre back partnership for me when both fit. Both can bring the ball out from the back. But as much as we say that, I absolutely adore Dave. You know that. However, Bowery and Cargill, those two together are just as good, if not slightly better, which would then maybe allow Dave to go into a CDM role.
Well, I think those three are the top three choices. Can you remember last season when we played in a three at the back? Those three worked well together. I mean, yes, balance is important, left foot, right foot, but I'd be happy with any two of those three, really. But I agree with the comment that I think Cargill and Dave are the best two, if in a two, and Barry is probably your first replacement. But I don't know. I think you want your first replacement to have no drop off. So, I mean, again, that probably comes down to opinion, but I think pretty clearly it's Dave and Cargill as your first choice too.
Oh, God help teams when we get fit. We have been on so many other podcasts over the last couple of weeks, Alan. They've been going, who's the players to look out for? And I'm reading these names off and I'm thinking, injured. What's happened to this player who's not really played? Injured. Nigel Clough's got one hell of a selection headache when everybody is fit and available, but it's just typical Mansfield. I don't think... do you know what? I think if we ever get to a point where everybody is fit and available for selection, something will be wrong.
But it'd be interesting, first 11 and the bench, wouldn't it? The 18-man squad, well, it'd be unbelievable. And so I had a guess at trying to pick the team on Saturday, and I got 9 out of the 11. I'd got no idea that Dave, obviously wasn't fit, but it pushed him in anyway, even if it only been 60 minutes that he lasted. But, when you've got your Barry coming off the bench when he's fit, when you've got Macca coming off, Aaron Lewis has come off, albeit the last couple of games he's kept his place because the needs must. But it's going to have it's going to be such a difficult job, isn't it? Because the squad of 18 is any one of them players could come on and do a job. And like we say, Dwyer only on for 30 seconds or whatever, and he puts ball in net because he had the right service. And that's what he's been missing. He's been feeding off scraps because we know he's probably one of the best finishers we've got. It's a good quandary. Sorry, it's a good quandary to have.
It certainly is. Let's talk Aaron Lewis for a minute then, Nick. Alan mentioned him there. Like Rhys Oates in the previous week, Aaron Lewis also notched up his 100th appearance at the weekend. It's an interesting one for me because, to be honest, I half saw him leaving in the summer. And he's always one of those players that sort of never regularly starts, in frequent runs. He comes in when other people aren't available. He just does a job. Sometimes he goes missing, but his passion and his love for the club is there for all to see. And, in the absence of Lewis Reed playing that CDM role alongside Jay McDonald, now he's had a few games under his belt. He's adapting to it well again, isn't he?
He is. I think last year he played in a really poor midfield. You look at times he was playing with our Lord and Saviour Hiram Boateng, and a very out of form.
I'm going to shock you now, Nick. I'm going to let you fall off your cherry. I'm going to mute Alan in case he laughs at this and starts coughing. I would take Hiram Boateng over Little Nobby Welsh all day long.
That's took a lot for you to say that.
It has. I feel physically sick. I'm not going to lie.
Do you feel better though now it's off your chest?
No, I feel like I need therapy.
You feel dirty.
I do. I need a shower.
Yeah, but to be fair, it was a poor midfield last year. It was really poor. I don't think anyone could have stood out in that. It's a weird one with Lewis. I would particularly if it had gone in the summer. I think I had him in my list of people I would have got rid of because I think of myself 100 appearances. Can I name 5 or 6 good performances? That maybe. that I can think of, and they go, yeah, he was brilliant that game, or he's brilliant that game. Accrington, great goal. He didn't do anything for 6 months after, but my God, he was good on Saturday, wasn't he? And I think when he's got a definite role and he knows exactly what he's supposed to be doing, I think but too often he gets thrown on in games with 30 minutes to go and he just runs around like he's possessed, but not necessarily in a good way. But I thought actually on Saturday, I thought he was really, he was a lot more composed than he usually is. He seemed to take more time with his passes rather than just getting it and hoofing it somewhere. So I'd say on Saturday he was really impressive. And this season, to be fair, he's been a lot better than last year. But I can't really tar him with any brush last year because the midfield was blooming awful.
Yeah, it certainly was. Marie in the comments, Jim says, I don't think Aaron Lewis has been given a fair shot. Get him starting and gelling with the others. Would rather have Lewis over Reed.
No.
Well, I don't think it depends on the game. I think, doesn't it? I
think Lewis is still capable of some erratic things, isn't he? He has good games and bad games.
His haircut will tell you that.
Oh, the tash. But, less said about that. Anyway, that's up to
more erotic than erratic, that isn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry, you got my words mixed up again, didn't I? Sorry.
But I still think of him as a League Two player. I've got to be honest. I mean, League Two players, they're capable of flashes of good stuff, but ultimately they are inconsistent. That's why they're in League Two, and I put him in that bracket. I really do, and I wouldn't drop. For me, Reed. If everybody's fit, Reed starts for me. I mean, that is all opinion, but especially in that position, you've got to have more control than Lewis has got. It's all right if you're further up, you can take more risks and lose the ball, but in those two pivot roles, you've got to be secure on the ball and not be erratic, and he is. So, and he's not really good enough to play in the front four. So, to me, he's good to have in your squad, but no, he doesn't start for me. And I think perhaps next summer, I would still personally move him on. It's one good game, like I think Nick alluded to. In the 100 games, how many games has he been good? And I think the way we're going, I think I can see him moving on next summer, personally.
And yeah, Alan, he steps up and delivers like he did on Saturday, because the ball was brilliant in for Dom Dwyer's goal, and puts it into a good channel. And you know, when we need him, he does step up.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'd have to disagree with Jim on that one. He would definitely get to place in my team, and is also the new free kick maestro as well. If you've noticed, last 2 or 3 is taken, and they've always been there or thereabouts. You know, either just over the bar, over the corner. Keeper's made a save. He knows where the net is, lad, doesn't? I would certainly keep giving him a chance. But what people have been saying about Nathan Welsh, it always seems to be Nobby Welsh, sorry. Nobby Welsh. It always seems to be the same way. One seems to go to the side, if you like. It was the same with Keanu Bacchus. He had a couple of games and then, he went missing. But like Nick said, the midfield wasn't as strong as what it is this year. But I think there's definitely room for Aaron Lewis. Sorry to disagree, Jim, but like you say, football's opinions.
It is, but if he could play on Saturday, he could play like that every game, I would agree with you. But he is just so inconsistent. And you look at people like Reed and McDonnell, what you see is what you get most of the time, practically all the time. And I just think Lewis is just too erratic for me. He's right in League Two, but the way we've moved on from that.
And the only defence I have for Lewis on that was I don't think Clough ever seems to give him the same role week to week. That's my only thing. It niggles the back of my head. Like McDonnell has to do the same thing every week, and Reed definitely has the same role. With Lewis, I feel like a little bit like Bacchus last year. Cloughy kind of like 1 minute he's supposed to be defensive, then he's attacking, then he's not. And I think that adds to his erraticness. I agree with Jim. Like I said earlier, I don't think he's been consistent enough. But he's one of those players who suffered from I can do a bit of everything, so Clough lets me do a bit of everything. Nobby Welsh has been the same a little bit. I think on that right-hand side, he seems to be a little bit better, but he played up front, didn't he? He came on up front, then he played at attacking midfield, then he played centre mid, and it just pick a position.
I don't think we have
just
positions.
Keep moving him about everywhere.
I say this every time I get invited onto another person's podcast. They say, what formations you play? Well, I can guarantee it's Liam Roberts in goal, and anything after that's a total guess.
We'll have a number 9 at centre-back.
No, I'm a centre-back, and we might play a centre-forward. We might play a central midfielder in goal or something. I don't know. Right. Of course, we did see the return of Dave on Saturday, and, it was fantastic to see him back. And our Nathan couldn't resist doing something to mark the occasion.
Yeah, they call him Dave. Mansfield Matters know the name. Deji Ashalaja, but the streets know him as Dave. Let me tell you about my boy, yo. Dave's the anchor when the storm comes, standing firm when everyone runs. I feel safe knowing he's behind me, solid as stone, they can't find me. Dave's the reason we stay strong, been holding it down all season long. In my heart I know the truth, he's the wool we can't lose. Dave, 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 that's my defender. Dave, 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 never surrender. Cardiff bringing all that Welsh fire, but Dave stay cool under pressure. Plymouth sailing up the flanks, he measures every gesture. Exeter running at full speed, but Dave's positioning is better. Blackpool think they got the tricks, but read that like a letter.
That's so annoying. I pressed the wrong button.
That's the best one, that is. That's good, that is.
It is. And you know, it's that good. I'm playing it again because I fucked up there.
Yeah, they call him Dave. Mansfield Matters know the name. Deji Ashalaja, but the streets know him as Dave. Let me tell you about my boy, yo. Dave's the anchor when the storm comes, standing firm when everyone runs. I feel safe knowing he's behind me, solid as stone, they can't find me. Dave's the reason we stay strong, been holding it down all season long. In my heart I know the truth, he's the wool we can't lose. Dave, 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 that's my defender. Dave, 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 never surrender. Cardiff bringing all that Welsh fire, but Dave stay cool under pressure. Plymouth sailing up the flanks, he measures every gesture. Exeter running at full speed, but Dave's positioning is better. Blackpool think they got the tricks, but read that like a letter. I remember when Stevenage tried to test him on the weekend. Port Vale pushing late in games, but they don't ever weaken. Huddersfield with all their pace, but Dave already there. Rotherham bringing physicality, but Dave don't even care. Barnsley got their corners ready, but he's always in the air. Stockport running every angle, but Dave cover everywhere. Dave's the anchor when the storm comes, standing firm when everyone runs. I feel safe knowing he's behind me, solid as stone, they can't find me. Dave's the reason we stay strong, been holding it down all season long. In my heart I know the truth, this is more than just a game we play. This is love for Dave's way. That's my defender. Never surrender. Deji Ashalaja, but we call him Dave.
And it's content like that why we want you to vote for Mansfield Matters at this year's Football Content Awards. You can vote right now by scanning the QR code on screen or clicking the link in the description. You've got plenty of time to vote. And I've had so many of you over the last week come up to me and say, Craig, I've already voted. Fine. Thank you. Really appreciate you voting. But you can vote multiple times. Make it a habit. When you're making a cup of tea in the morning, vote. When you're cooking the tea and you're scrolling through Facebook, forget reading what Janice at number 43 has been up to. Get on the Football Content Awards website. Click on voting. Scroll to podcast, Football League podcasts. Click on Mansfield Matters. Don't do it for us. Do it for the sake of the Jordan Bowery Bishop Street stand. If you're passionate about the Jordan Bowery Bishop Street stand, vote for Mansfield Matters. If you're passionate about calling Dave Dave, then vote for Mansfield Matters at the Football Content Awards. We really need your votes. Now, of course, last week on the podcast, Jim, Alan and Nick weren't with us when we revealed the news. We had the other three, that lad that's watching Hollyoaks all the time, the one that nominated for us in the first place, and then of course we had Clive as well with his humor, his dry wit, talking all about why we should get nominated. They gave their spiel as to why they should vote for Mansfield Matters. So now I'm asking you guys, I'm asking Alan, I'm asking the world's greatest announcer to give us some spiel. I'm asking the man with more shirts than Sports Direct's warehouse to give us his spiel. I'm asking the man who is written in the stupid AI sub as the super sub, but he's more than a super sub. He's a man who goes out and interacts with other people to buy a smartphone, to appear on screen for this moment. Because to him, Mansfield matters. I'm asking those three. So I'm going to hand it over to our champions, to our panel, to our voices. Why you at home, you right there watching or listening, should vote for Mansfield Matters at the Football Content Awards. And I'm going to start with Nick of Mansfield Town Shirts fame.
It's good, isn't it?
That's about top and bottom of it, isn't it?
We're bloody brilliant. That's what it. That's what it is. I mean,
all that sell. I toss that ball up in the air, wait for you to smash over. You just go, yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is good, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's just, I think it's good. You know?
Oh my god!
I wouldn't waste my time if it wasn't. It's good. I like it. We don't get paid for this. Nothing. Alan does this for free.
You're
Jim has spent money to be here tonight. That's how much we like it. Say no more. The fact that Jim's been out today at his own time and bought headphones just for this, that's statement alone for me. Say no more.
There we go. Right, Jim.
Right, go on then. I like Nick's answer. I've got to say, simple is always best. You know, simple and straightforward answer. But anyway, okay. Let's say I think because we're a group of people who've all from different walks of life, had different life experiences, but we've got a common passion. We're not sort of, what we say is not, you know, held in association with the club. So if we say what we like, we're not stiff, we're not beige, and we'll just say it how we see it. And I think it's like we say, people are free to come and comment and leave an opinion, and it'll be respected and listened to, and it'll be interesting, and it won't be, what's the word? It won't be contrived or boring.
There you go. All right, I'm expecting big things now. I'm expecting huge things here. I'm expecting tears. Is it like
that woman collected that Viagra from America? Is it? It's not her again. We're not going back for a one-off episode, I think.
No, she's not back. Live appearance, full demonstration. Alan Wilson, why should people vote for Mansfield Matters at the Football Content Awards? Use the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen.
It's because we enjoy doing what we do, Craig. Everybody comes on because they want to listen to us, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's funny, whatever. People like to come on and have an hour or an hour and a half on a Thursday night or whenever we do it, and it's light-hearted. It's all about Mansfield Town Football Club, which is the team that we love. That's why we all do it, and that's why it gets deserved, because Mansfield Town, it always matters. That's what it's all about. So let's go put Mansfield Town on the map through Mansfield Matters.
Yeah, let's do exactly that. Let's do exactly that. Thank you so much for your votes so far. Keep voting. Keep telling all your friends. footballcontentawards.com/voting. Head to the podcast bit. Vote for Mansfield Matters. You don't need to fill in any other votes. You don't need to fill in your name or your email address. Just tick the box at the bottom, press vote, and then do it again, and do it again, and do it again. Do it for Dave. Do it for the Jordan Barry Bishop Street stand, and do it because Mansfield matters. And do it because you're going to see after the break us rant about referees. And let's face it, that's what you've been waiting for, right? Well, you've even been waiting for that or the bucket. That's coming soon.
Protect what matters most with Actifire Limited.
Your trusted local fire safety experts in Nottinghamshire. Proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast. From fire extinguishers and alarms to emergency lighting, pat testing and risk assessments, they've got everything you need for your business to stay safe. Affordable, reliable, professional. Because when it comes to fire protection, there's no room for compromise. Call Actifire Limited today or visit actifire.co.uk. Be ready, be safe, act now. Actifire Limited, proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast.
We're the Mansfield Matters crew, making podcasts just for you. Some show up, some disappear, but the Stags bring us all here. Through the ups and downs we stay, talking Mansfield Town every day.
Right, referees are a bunch of bloody idiots, aren't they?
Can I go first?
Hands up, who thought it was a penalty on Saturday?
Well, let's put some context, shall we, to this. So obviously, after we did last week's podcast, we did on Monday because we needed to announce the Football Content Awards nomination. You can vote now via the link in the description, and we also, had other things on when it came to Thursday night, so we couldn't really get together. So it was the only night we could do it Monday, which then meant we missed Nigel Clough gold in the week when he had a tirade of a rant towards referees, which was absolutely brilliant, honest, insightful as ever. So much so the club had to take it down and edit in a little bit of an apology, half apology from Clough and a bit of a clarity line saying, just to be clear, we're not talking about any current referees, we're talking about ones in the 70s, etc., and then put it back up and it's still got good views and a great reaction. And Jim, I know you wanted to go first, so I'm going to let you go first. He was absolutely right in every single thing that he said.
Yeah, he was. And they are getting worse and they are shite, to be honest with you. But my only concern is, and I agree with everything he says, my only concern is you don't want to put a target on your back. And I think you've got to sort of play the game a little bit. And if he wants to go on a crusade, one-man crusade against referees, I think he should wait till after he's a manager. In my opinion, I think while he's Mansfield Town manager, do what's in the best interest for Mansfield Town. And I don't think throwing stones at referees is going to be in our best interests. That's what I mean, I don't know if Saturday... I'm not saying Saturday's referee was bent. But I think subconsciously, you get in their mind, they're going to say, right, well, we're not going to give you out cheat just because you've moaned. And that's my concern. I just think Yeah,
I do wholeheartedly agree with that. I love the fact that he wants to come out and make a change for the better, and I genuinely believe that he will continue to go at that like a dog with a bone. However, you knew, Nick, didn't you? You had a bit of a thought process in your mind that after he said what he said in midweek, whoever was referee on Saturday was going to come with that. It's human nature to do it. It's a protective thing. They shouldn't do it. They should show, balance and non-bias, but you knew that there would be little instances and maybe some things in their mind, having seen what he said, because you're bound to look. It's bound to get back to you. And there were some decisions again on Saturday which just justified what Clough said. The whole McLaughlin situation, he was pushed in the face right in front of the officials, in front of the touchline. Both players got booked, and then he awarded a throw-in.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the Nottinghamshire's premier fire safety team, Actifier, I think he might have balled over on Saturday, Craig. Yeah.
Jolly good, Nick. Jolly good. They're not paying for that, so 20 quid.
They're not paying for that. Yeah, I mean, I refereed. I'm not going to say to any great standard, but semi-professional, non-league standard. And I kind of get what everyone's saying about the criticism could backfire. The guy on Saturday, he was just really poor, wasn't he? Yeah. The penalty, yes, he had his hand in his ear, but the worry that I've got with referees when they make these decisions is that he clearly couldn't have been 100% sure that it hit his arm because it didn't. So he could never have been 100% sure. So you shouldn't be giving decisions when you're not 100% sure. And that's what annoys me. Everyone gets things wrong. You see things that quickly and the game's really quick. You do see things, you do get things wrong as referees. But the fact that he guessed that was a penalty just because his arm was up in the air and he thought, well, it probably hit it. It's just not good enough. Not at this level anyway, when there's so much at stake in games. It's really poor. The McLaughlin thing, didn't understand that at all. And the way that he was smirking at the fans as he was walking off, there was something near the tunnel that, apparently he'd done some gesture or something towards the Stags fans. I don't know. But he looked smarmy, didn't he? He was smirking all the way through. And you wonder, he was crap last year. He refed us at Wrexham, didn't he, away when he didn't give that penalty. That was him. So he was crap last year. So I can't suggest it was Clough's comments that's made him crap. But he was really, really poor. And, I'll defend referees because, like I say, I used to do it and I know how hard it is. But he was just, I don't know, he just looked like he wanted to be centre of attention. And the way that he was pulling players out at corners when he didn't need to, just get on with it, And the best referees this year have been where they've let the game flow a little bit. And those little panicky fouls, they let them go. But for both teams, I don't expect us to be treated any differently. But he was just pulling up for everything. But then suddenly he was pulling up for nothing. And I can't remember, was it Was it Little Nobby Welsh where their player was not clean through, but almost, and he clearly wiped the ball out and took the ball a million miles, won it clearly, and he got booked for that. Their player did the same, I don't know, maybe 20 yards further up the pitch. Nothing, no card, didn't even speak to him. And it was almost a carbon copy. And you think, it's really, really poor. But I do agree partly what Jim said in terms of Nigel Clough. But it's emotion. Nigel's emotional, isn't he? He's an emotional person. I don't think he felt like he could say nothing. So I felt like he had to say something. Probably went a little bit too far. But yeah, the guy on Saturday was incompetent, and there's nothing more you can really say other than that.
I'm amazed they didn't put a pretty more experienced referee there on Saturday. I was amazed.
Well, given Clough's comments in the week.
Yeah, and it was and Rotherham as well. So it's a localish derby. I thought they'd have put someone a bit more experienced and older head. I mean, I agree. Just before half time, it felt like it was going to. The whole stadium was.
Clough was seething, wasn't he? The additional time added on because there was a lot of stoppages in the added time, and he didn't add it on.
Yeah,
he did at the end though, didn't he? He made sure when we were up against it at the end, he added more than the time on.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. Alan, what's your take on the whole situation? Because, I usually give you a yellow card for talking about that sport that begins with a C and ends in an it. But there are some comparables in here when it comes to respect and understanding the laws of the game and the way it's done, etc. So what's your take on the whole situation with what Clough said and with how the refereeing standard has been?
Well, I'm same as Nick, not to Nick's standard, but I have ref one Sunday league game, Division 3, when there was nobody available, and I offered to do it. And let me tell you, it's a thankless task, believe you me. And I gave a penalty in the last 10 minutes to the team that was losing to make it a 2-2 draw, but it was a clear penalty. All I'd like to say is you'd like to see some consistency. Like Nick said before, the best referees that we've had this season are the ones that just let it flow. The little niggly fouls, just leave them. If it's a big foul or something that needs pulling back, do so. But just let the game flow. And when you don't notice that they're there, that's the best referee. But he was stopping and starting, doing all this, everything that he didn't need to do. And it just made it worse after 7 minutes, when he gave the penalty. But, it's a thankless task. I wouldn't want to be a referee, but just consistency. That's all we ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I want you to get your thinking caps on for a minute, because I have written down here one point of discussion would be, what would you change if you could? I've got one, which I'll throw out there in a minute. So I'll give you a minute or so to think about it. Let us know in the comments as well if you wish to do so. Marie says that PG, MOL and EFL couldn't care less about the standards of officiating outside of the Prem. The standard has been poor for the past few seasons. Completely agree with that as well. I think it says a lot that unless it's changed, that the Premier League referees are full-time and go through training programs and various other bits of analysis, and it's a full-time job for them. Whereas the EFL, it could be a carpenter or a milkman or whatever, or anything that's just wanted to referee. I think there has to be, certainly at in the EFL conference level downwards is different, because you can have full-time leagues and full-time teams and part-time teams in that division. But the EFL is full-time. So I think the officials should be as well. But where the money comes from to pay those wages, etc., is a different question. There's a lot to be said, but I think definitely in the EFL, referees should be full-time referees rather than, doing it as another side job or whatever. And I think only then will you start to get a little bit more transparency and sort of, improvement over the longer term thing. So in terms of what you would change then, I think one thing for me, it's a major bugbear in football, is we don't do it often. We've done it once this season, and we had to do it at Port Vale, where obviously Liam Roberts went down injured to allow us to go over to the dugout and take on instructions. We've just gone down to 10 men. We're up against it. Teams do it so often at certain points in the game, but 9 times out of 10, teams do it to kill momentum. They don't do it to take on tactical advice or whatever, like we did at Port Vale. I'm not saying that we're different, because I'm sure that if we wanted to, we would. I don't think Nigel Clough would go for it as a full-time thing. But teams do it all the time. You saw it on Saturday, actually. We had a really good 5-10 minute spell where Rotherham didn't touch the ball. We were really pressing. We were knocking on the door. We had a number of chances. We were carving them open. And all of a sudden, the goalkeeper went down. All the players came to Matt Hamshaw and his coaching staff and took on instructions, ran 2 minutes on the clock, killed the game a little bit, killed the crowd a little bit. And all of a sudden, the balance was tipped back. So for me, one rule I would impose would be if the goalkeeper goes down injured and therefore, he's getting treatment on the pitch or whatever, there should be an exclusion zone around the technical areas. Only 2 players at any one given time should be allowed to go and get instruction and or a drink, because the player can bring on the water bottles or whatever. Teams should not be allowed to all crowd around the technical area, take on instructions, and there should be more of an impact on that as well. And just for pure entertainment purposes, if the goalkeeper is getting treatment, he, like every outfield player, should go off the pitch for 30 seconds.
100%.
And it would just make
it that would stop it overnight.
It would stop it.
It would stop it. It'd be gone.
It'd stop it. And and if they were genuinely injured and they had to go off, it would make the game lively for 30 seconds, because I'm not saying rush keeper, but it's one of them, isn't it? So that's what I'd change anyway. I'd have an exclusion zone around the technical area, or impose a rule that only 2 players at any one given time could, or whatever. I like what Lee said in the comments, actually. Maybe if a goalie does go down injured, then another player goes off for 1 minute. One of the outfield players has to be taken off for a minute and put on the sideline. Like Marie says, if the keeper goes down, then the captain maybe should take the responsibility and go off for 30 seconds or whatever. I think there should be some form of some thought. Ashley, I'm sorry, I've gone off on a tangent. I'll come back to that in a second. Ashley in the comments, rewind the podcast to the start. We've already spoken about Ryan Sweeney. Go and watch it on YouTube. Watch it from the start. Right.
We didn't talk about Ryan Sweeney, though.
No, we did talk about Ryan Sweeney. So anyway, right. Where was I? Yeah, there should be some sort of impact on the goalkeeper going down injured, because 99% of the time he is not injured. Alan.
I would like to see, when they have a corner or a free kick, mainly a corner, when they're all grabbing hold of the strikers, the defenders grab, it's like a wrestling cuddling match. As soon as the referee sees any of that, penalty. Job done. It'd stop just like that. Simple as. That's what I'd like to see.
Jim.
Well, I think all the rules are there. I would encourage referees, if they think that someone's taking the piss with time wasting or a goalkeeper going down, you got 2 cards in your pocket, use them. And I think there needs to be consultation amongst all the teams and all the managers. What would they like to see? I mean, one suggestion is perhaps each team has 1 timeout per game for 30 seconds, and then it's fair, isn't it?
Nick, as a former referee, what would you change if you were in charge?
The one thing I'd like to see, and I don't know how possible this is, and you might go, I don't want to hear from them, but I feel like miking them up in other sports that I've witnessed has helped.
Yes.
And I think a lot of let's be honest, it's the fan experience that we're interested in. I don't care about those watching on telly, unfortunately. If you watch games on telly, fair enough, but you're not the intended audience for me. The intended audience is those who pay and go, especially at lower league football. So it's all for me about the experience of the fan. And if, for example, the referee says, look, there's a penalty decision. He goes down, he doesn't give it. If he over the microphone or whatever said, I genuinely haven't seen it. There was somebody in my way. I didn't see it. Apologies, guys. That's it. We move on as fans. But as a fan, you assume he's seen it and said it wasn't a penalty. There's other decisions you could go into where he goes, well, I've seen it this way. This is how I saw it. Fans would just go, okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
clarity. I think it really would, because my dad used to come and watch games that I refereed, and the amount of time I'd come off and he'd go, "Oh, I didn't know about that penalty." He said, "I saw it hit this," and I go, "Well, I thought it did that." And sometimes because he was at a different side to me or a different angle, he'd see things completely different to me. Or there was an offside that I thought was obvious, and I ran the line for Stags and Hucknall years ago when Hutchinson, who we had from Celtic, played. And I flagged for an offside. I was adamant he was offside. My dad was a bit further back, and he was like, he was never offside. Not in a million years. And I was adamant he was, and I flagged him offside. But just explanations from the ref during the game, I don't know. It just seems to me such an easy concept. The reason why they don't, if you ever listen to VAR, is because they are constantly chatting. Like, they chat all the time. Every decision, everything that happens, they're constantly rabbiting. So they may have to change that slightly. But for key decisions, somehow just have them mic'd up so they can explain it, and then the fans will go, okay, fair enough. He thought it was handball. That's fair enough. Or explain why he didn't give a shirt pull. If he goes, well, yeah, he was pulling your shirt, but you were also pulling his. Move on. Fans would go, that's fair enough. That's what he saw. For me, that would solve a lot of fan frustration. But
I think it's
maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree, because they do talk a lot, and it might be difficult for them to go about how they referee games now, because they are chatting all the time to each other. But and sometimes, you'll see the linesman doesn't flag, and my dad said, how did the linesman not see that? Whereas when I'm looking, I can see the linesman talking in his microphone, so he probably has said to the ref that's a foul, but he may not have flagged. But the microphone would solve all that. You'd go, okay, the linesman saw it.
I think
that would help.
It's coming in, isn't it? Premier League games, they're mic'd up. I think they do turn the mic on and explain certain things. I could see a time coming, in perhaps 10 years' time, where there's virtual referee technology will be that advanced. They'll have millions of cameras all around the pitch, and it'll be a computerised referee. So there'll be no one to moan at, and it'll be like an instant decision by a machine. I can see that coming one day. That's a bit futuristic, but
I am the referee. Please acknowledge my decision. That is a red card. Somebody
something like that.
called Dave the wrong name. That is a red card.
I'm going to say they don't argue with rugby refs, do they?
No.
I agree with my officials officially officiating. That is a penalty. That is a
I'll be all over that.
And the new button.
I think definitely there should be more respect for referees. Like, only the captain can talk to the ref, and even then he's got to do it in the right way.
But they allow it, don't they? This is the thing that frustrates me. The referees allow it to happen, because if you get surrounded by 4 or 5 players and you start booking them, they'll walk away. If you stand there and let them crowd round you and shout at you and moan at you, then that's on you. That's your own fault. And I don't think they stand up especially in the Premier League. And I remember that years and years ago when I was reffing on I can't remember who I was reffing. It was a reasonable standard, like Central Mids or East Mids counties. Was it a Man United player put his foot on the ball at a corner and pretended he took it, and they let him take it, and he just ran in with it and they scored. It was the first time anyone had done that. The next game on the following Saturday, the people were doing it in like the crappiest leagues in the world. I'm like, so they do copy things. Just don't let them crowd round you and get in you. I can't remember what it was. There was a tackle on Saturday, and Rotherham were all round the Stags for a red card. They was right round the ref. Just start booking them, and then they'll sod off. And if they don't sod off, they'll get another one. So I don't know. I think I agree with you, Jim. But to a point, they bring it on themselves, because they allow themselves to be surrounded and chased after. When turn around and send them off. They won't do it then, will they? The managers, why are we booking coaches? What good's that going to do? He booked one of their coaches on Saturday.
Unfortunately, we have played 90 allocated minutes. That is the end of the fixture. Please leave the stadium via a nominated exit.
Is Ashley left by a nominated exit?
Yeah, I've just blocked him.
Yeah, I think okay.
Yeah, shall we move? We need to move on, guys, because apparently we've been talking about that for too long. So we now need to move on to another topic.
Get rid of the award nomination.
Yeah.
Get the tour bus. Back it up. Get rid.
Yeah. Get voting. Get voting for whoever else is on there. Right. So let's. I've lost it. Right. Let's move on. I've not got long.
Bucket. Where's the bucket?
I don't know. I'm going to put my head in the bucket, I think, in a minute. Right. Briefly, we'll talk about this more in future podcasts. However, it's worth a mention because the anniversary was this week as well. The Rotherham victory did indeed seal a milestone for the Radfords. 15 years at the helm of the club, Alan, and it has been a phenomenal journey from them, isn't it? The club put out a lovely video, 2 versions of John. He looks well. You could just see how much has changed, and it's weird watching it back, isn't it? Seeing how much the One Call Stadiums have evolved from that first game against Eastbourne all the way through, to Saturday. What a 15 years it's been. We've got a lot to thank the Radfords for.
Most definitely. From the Dark Lord, that era's gone. we've moved on and moved through the years and the decades, and long may it continue, Craig. Fair play to them. I take my hat off to them. They've done a fantastic job. And like I say, long may it continue.
What's been the biggest transformation for you, Jim, over the 15 years? What's been the biggest impact that the Radfords have had on Mansfield Town Football Club, do you think?
Well, I can remember going to Field Mill before the Radfords, and it was desperate. It was a dive. The toilets were dingy. It was all run down. And since they've come into power, everything's a lot more homely and sort of modern and vibrant. And just the whole feel about the whole place, the trajectory feels up now instead of down. And we're so lucky to have him. So lucky that John Radford's the biggest star of our club. Not Nigel Clough, not Dave, not any one player. John Radford. We need to remember that. We're lucky to have him, and hopefully the Radford family can stay in charge for many a year.
They've got the ground back for us, put it in good ownership, developed a training facility, implemented an academy. Appointed some good managers, appointed some bad managers, learnt from the mistakes. They made progress on and off the pitch, Nick. And, if you think back to where we were 15 years ago, bumming around in the conference, scrapping draws against part-time sides, barely getting 2,000 into the ground, to seeing how far we've moved forward now. It's been one hell of a trajectory. And, you still sense that there's more to come.
Yeah, I think that you look at the ground, look how empty it was in that Eastbourne. I know it was a conference, but even when we were back in the EFL, you look at clips from 2014 to really, 2016 maybe, before we had Steve Evans. That was it was dire. It was empty, like Jim said. Before then it was even worse. We're talking 3,000. So you look at the ground now and how full it is, and I think because the owners care, it makes other people care, it makes the fans care, and it makes other people care. When the people at the top don't give a toss what happens, that kind of trickles down to the managers, the players. And you look back on the managers we've had and some of the players we've now got compared to where we were 10 years ago. And some of the clubs that we were down there with are still down there. Some have gone worse, like one of the comments, like I think Mr. Simon said, some of the clubs aren't even there anymore. So we are very, very lucky. And I think we're lucky that they will leave the club in a million time better position than when they picked it up. And as fans, I guess, for a custodian of our club to do that, we can't ask for, we can't ask for anything more than that, can we?
Absolutely. Well, we can ask for podcast predictions, and ask and you shall receive.
The game of luck, who gives up, don't mess it up. I hear you say, how do you play? Win, lose or draw, then pick a score and one more thing. Pick a hero, don't score zero, that's the game. But we're not fools, but this game has rules. It gets on time, you'll be fine. Remember the rhyme. The best predictions. Remember the rhyme. Yes, on time, you'll be fine. Remember the rhyme. The best predictions.
So, podcast predictions then. Let's have a look, first and foremost, at the results from last month. If you've missed it on social media, here is the overall September table. Olivia Wilson leading the way at the top on 121 points, while Smudger is at the other end with just 1 point. In the Mansfield Matters League, as you can see, Jim is leading the way at the top. Clive's not far behind him. Then it's me. I'm sure you can spot your name on there on screen if you've taken part in podcast predictions. Thank you so much for playing so far this season. The link that you need is in the description. And if you want to see this September table, then make sure you head to our social media pages right now, where you can see the top 10 and the full September table. Where will you be when October ends? Of course, one game light this October now, that the Plymouth game has been postponed due to international call-ups. More on that another time. But what about this weekend then, as we head into a Reading game against the Reading side who haven't had the best of starts so far this season, but still it can cause us problems. It was a tight game down there last season, but will we do any better? Will we come away with all 3 points? Jim, I'm going to start with you for this one as the leader of the Mansfield Matters pack. What are you going to go for?
I'll go 2-2 and Reece Oates.
Nick, coming to you next.
2-1 defeat, Oates.
Oh, he's gone for Oates as well. Alan, you're up next.
2-1 win for the Stags. Tyler, Robert.
I am going to go for a 2-2 draw, and I am going to... Oh, do I gamble and go Dave? Oh, it's risky. I don't want to lose points, though. It's risky. I want to get that top spot back. I think Oates is a bit of a risk as well, I
just think Christie's bound to get a goal.
I went for Roberts last week. I'm going to go Fraser Blake Tracy. I think he is pretty much guaranteed to start, and I think, it would be solid as well. So, 2-2 draw for me. Fraser Blake Tracy as my hero, who will make sure that I don't score 0. As always, if you want to get involved with podcast predictions, you can do so via the link in the description. Clive's gone for a 2-1 Stags win, by the way, if you were wondering.
Yeah.
And also, he went for FBT as his player. Also, not sure if Ashley's still watching or whatever. He was begging for Clive. He loves Clive, so Clive, I'd maybe change where you live or something and get a bodyguard or something. I don't know. But
if Ashley is still listening, for 50 quid, I will tell you where Clive lives. So if he's listening, I do know.
Well done to Olivia, topping the leaderboard.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done. Some great predictions so far. Keep your guesses coming. We'd really love to hear them and see them. Get involved via the link in the description. If you've not played yet, then you can do so. It's never too late to start playing podcast predictions. The link that you need is in the description. A reminder that you must submit your guesses no later than 90 minutes before kickoff on your selected game, and that you can't use or you can't choose the same player 2 games in a row as your fantasy captain. Right, that's almost all we've got time for, except for last opportunity to talk about this. You know what to do. If you have enjoyed tonight's show, if you've enjoyed what you've listened to, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, then go and vote for Mansfield Matters at the Football Content Awards. The link that you need is in the description. Keep your votes coming. Try and make it a daily thing if you can. Get it into your daily routine. Shout all about it and help us get into one of those top 3 spots at the Football Content Awards. We really do appreciate your votes. One of the nicest things, actually, was said to me last week. I had a message from someone after last week's show, after we announced that we were nominated, which said something along the lines of, great show tonight, congratulations on the award. We watch the podcast every week when it goes live, and we sit down as a family to watch it, and it's the only time we sit down and watch something together. So to make things like that happen are absolutely fantastic, and that in itself deserves a vote. So go and do it. The link that you need is in the description, or if you're watching the video version of this, the QR code is on screen. Right, that is almost all we've got time for tonight. However, before we do go, obviously, no game against Plymouth a week on Saturday because of the international break. Not sure whether it'll affect the Newcastle Cup game or not, but a big opportunity on Saturday to go and get 3 points. We always tend to struggle after the international break, so going into it with a little bit of momentum would be absolutely welcome, wouldn't it, Nick? I've muted you. I need to unmute you. I muted you all. I don't know why I muted you.
There we go.
You muted yourself.
I did mute myself. I did look. I was doing my kit graphics for Reading away, and in 26 attempts, stretching back to 1931, we've never won at Reading. So, time to change that, I guess. Then. Yeah, I was trying to find a win all the way back to 1931, and I couldn't. So, 26 times we've been there and never won. So, it's got to end at some point, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe
so why not Saturday?
Indeed, maybe the 27th time is the best time for us.
27th time lucky.
27th time lucky, as that old saying goes. Now, one thing which we were reflecting on getting the nomination for the award, one thing I forgot to mention was obviously last year we did the silly games, and we've not done that as much this year. However, me and Nick, when we went to Birmingham away, we took Alan with us, and he couldn't help but be walking around wanting to empty all the bins. So me and Nick came up with a genius feature called Alan, Where's You Been? So Alan, I'm gonna set you a little bit of homework, right? You have to host this feature. Every week that you're on, we're gonna play Alan, Where's You Been? Because we're gonna ask you, Alan, where's you been? As in, Alan, where have you been?
Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to come up with a place for any football ground up and down the country in England, please. And you've got to give us 3 clues. The first clue has got to be ridiculously tough or as hard as you can make it. And if anyone gets it on the first clue, that's 3 points to them. The second one's got to be like a bit of a moderate clue. That's 2 points. And then the last clue's got to be, a really, really simple one. And that's 1 point. So you've got to come up with a list of them, and we can do one ground each week, and we're going to play, next time Alan's on, we're going to play Alan, Where's You Been? Up for that?
Yeah, no problem.
Fantastic.
This is why I've actually got to go there to fill the intro to it each week.
Oh, yeah. Forgot to mention that. You've got to drive there.
If you pick Sunderland, you've got to be outside.
Yeah, we're not paying for it. Yeah, there you go. I think that'd be a great feature. We look forward to playing that. Jim, how's your first real experience of being visual on the panel bin tonight? Have you enjoyed it, or do you want to get the Nokia 3310 back?
That was too technology advanced for me. Yeah, it's been good. It's much better. Yeah, it's making me dizzy, all this technology. I'll say I've only just put my candles out. I've got a light bulb now as well.
Well, wonders will never cease. Right, thanks as always for your impact, fellas. We'll see you again very, very soon, because unfortunately that is all that we have time for on tonight's show. That's all we've got time for on this week's Mansfield Matters podcast. My thanks, as ever, to the Mansfield Matters podcast panel and to you guys at home for watching, for listening, and for voting. Still time to vote for Mansfield Matters at the Football Content Awards. The link that you need is in the description. Please go and do it. Maybe do it once or twice a day. Make it a regular thing. Remember, it's 50% fan voted. Right, also, podcast predictions, the link that you need for that is in the description as the Stags head for Reading on Saturday afternoon. A reminder, you must submit your predictions no later than 90 minutes before kick-off, and you can't choose the same player 2 weeks in a row. All of that and much, much more in the description. And as ever, if you want to find out when we're next going to be live, follow us on all things social media. This is the show for the fans, by the fans. This is the Mansfield Matters podcast. And until next week, good night, goodbye, keep voting. Please.
Protect what matters most with Actifire Limited.
Your trusted local fire safety experts in Nottinghamshire. Proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast. From fire extinguishers and alarms to emergency lighting, pat testing and risk assessments, they've got everything you need for your business to stay safe. Affordable, reliable, professional. Because when it comes to fire protection, there's no room for compromise. Call Actifire Limited today or visit actifire.co.uk. Be ready, be safe, act now. Actifire Limited, proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast.